Good afternoon, my name is Trons9S, aka Trenton. This is my first YouTube video out there, and man, I'm really excited to actually put some interesting content out on YouTube, other than just vines. My idea for my channel is, I'm a gamer, I like anime and all that stuff, but I wanted to get some informative information, and so one of the ideas that I had for this channel is have a series on homelessness and my personal experience of being homelessness. I've been homeless for, I believe, about 2 years now. I'm living in my truck right now, at least. I used to stay in a shelter, but yeah, shelters. I'll get into that later. But man, I'm really excited. I want to share my idea because, a lot of the organizations and government view homelessness as, their views of it is different than my views, and so I want to bring a new light to what homelessness actually is. And before I get into my own personal experience and whatnot, I want to define personally what homelessness is, and I also want to debunk some of the myths. I'm going to throw out some of what is already like some of the stereotypes and things like that about homelessness. But let's just get started. Homelessness, it's pretty crazy. Think of it like this. I view homelessness as there's three types of homeless people. There is the stereotypical bum. Yep, you got it. The homeless guy or gal who doesn't do anything or is very lazy, doesn't want to succeed in life, most likely does drugs or drinks, or sells him or herself just to get those drugs, and all that looped up. You can try and talk to him to do something, but he's more interested in being in the streets and doing whatnot, and having his drugs. I mean, gotta love those drugs, right? That's the first one of the, I would say, the lowest level on the scale of homelessness. On the next one would be the addict. You have someone who's homeless probably because of maybe like personal situation or whatnot. They ended up homeless on the streets or whatnot, and it was probably fueled by drugs or any other kind of situation or whatnot. I guess I couldn't call this level the addict, but that tends to be a huge problem with a big reason why people end up homeless is because, drugs. So, and cigarettes. Cigarettes tend to kill everything. And then lastly, and I consider myself to be in this category, I'm going to come up with different names for this, but like someone who actually tries. You have the homeless guy or gal who falls down and is trying to get back up, back on their feet or whatnot. And I consider myself to be in that category because I'm actually trying every day. I'm out here grinding, making money, learning. I'm a college student. I guess a homeless college student. I mean, how much better can you get that? I have a 3.6 GPA. I'm in my third quarter of college over at Tacoma Community College. And I did a YouTube video when I was staying at a youth shelter that they opened up December of last year, for the Tacoma News Tribune. I did an interview for them, and I pretty much explained, why the community needs to come together to end homelessness, at least globally. Sure, that sounds like a great idea, but at least within our own communities, because anyone can end up homeless. I don't care if you're the richest guy in the world. As soon as the IRS comes in, that was a joke, but as soon as the IRS comes in, on the streets, you forgot to audit, fill out those taxes, so they come in and take everything. But again, that's a joke. It could be any reason, whatnot. Drugs is another reason. maybe you just decided to spend a crap ton of money, even though you can't afford it to. So now you're homeless, and you lost everything, and because you lost everything, you're trying to get everything back. And so that is that third level of homelessness, is that someone who falls down and is every day trying to get back on their feet, and they have to encounter different situations that are blocking them, and they have to get around those to navigate back to being able to have a stable living environment. And that's what I've encountered over the last pretty much 2 years. But again, we'll get back to that in a sec. My own personal experience in a second. So, how did I end up homeless? Man, that's not a tough question. It's more like I'm telling the world kind of thing. 2 years ago, 2 years and a couple months ago, I went to Job Corp, and I graduated I completed a trade and graduated Job Corp as a computer service technician. I love computers. I know how to fix them. Everything about technology in general, at least in the computer science field, is just freaking awesome. I can't wait to see where virtual reality goes. I'm excited for that. I graduated Job Corps, but I got this letter from Barack Obama, even though it probably wasn't him, and we were informed by Job Corps that there was going to be budget cuts. And so I was in the college program down in Morganfield, Kentucky, and they pretty much said, well, since you already graduated Job Corps and you're in the college program, you're not really in Job Corps, so bye. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I ended up going back to my aunt's, and seeing as I was 17 at the time, I started college when I was 16. I completed like maybe a few credits, and then I left when I was like 17. Came back up to Washington. Mind you, there's some parts that I'm skipping, but I came back up here to Washington. Didn't have anywhere to stay. My brother, he's a huge help. Even though I have 9 of them, one helps me out. He's a huge help, even though he couldn't provide me with a place to stay, because he's homeless as well, or he was homeless at that time. He still gave me some money or whatnot. Throughout my life period, even though I've only seen him every just couple of years or so in between, he's always been a huge help whenever we somehow connect. So that was back in 2013 when I was pretty much on the streets for like 6 months, somewhere along those lines. Eventually, I found this abandoned building in downtown Tacoma. I stayed in there. The doors were already unlocked. I walked in. It was pretty much, there was furniture and a bunch of other stuff. And, I stayed there, and I enjoyed the place. One day, I encountered someone during the night when I was sleeping in the building on the second floor. There was a guy, he was like sleeping on the stairs, and I was like, oh man, if he hears me, he might call the cops or something like that. So I went out there and I was like, listen man, this area right here, that's all me. But you can have the upstairs or the downstairs, wherever you want, but you can't come over here. He's like, oh yeah, okay, sure. I believe that was a mistake. That was a huge mistake, because every day on so forth from that point, he started bringing in more people, other homeless people, and they were doing drugs and having sex and drinking and all kinds of stuff, and I took no part. I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna go keep looking for a job, And oh boy, I can't wait to start explaining that one. I'm gonna keep looking for a job and all that, and see how that goes. I remember back at that time, I was holding a sign for like $30, $40 or whatnot. I had to stand outside on the street, on the corner of the street, out in Kent or whatever, Kent, Auburn, and Lakewood. I had to hold the sign for like 5 hours and wave it back and forth. If I don't wave it, I don't get paid or whatnot. Or he'll cut it, like he'll take half of my money or whatnot. It was really stupid, but I mean, it was one way I made money. What else? Anyway, long story short, January 2014, actually New Year's Day, I came back to the building, and these two other homeless, I came back to the building that night. I was inside the building. These two other homeless people were outside the building. They broke into the building. They broke into the door that I was staying in. They attacked me. The chick, it was a guy and a chick. She tried to stab me with a knife. I protected myself. I ended up stabbing her in the process. And he charged me, and then it was just a whole fight ensued. Next thing you know, cops and ambulances and all that stuff. And guess who goes to jail? Me. I wanted to say something funny, but I'm not going to. Sat 7 months in jail waiting to go to trial. 7 months, so all the way from January to July. Was it June? No, July. July 16th. Yeah, July 16th. In June, I started trial, and it was just this huge, long, and complicated process. Oh, no, it wasn't really that complicated. I mean, the prosecutor basically accused me of I had no right to defend myself because I didn't own the property, and I was protecting the property, not myself. Which we argued against that, saying, well, if I'm protecting, no. Basically, we argued that I was protecting myself, not the property, therefore I had the right to protect myself, because they used deadly force to assault me with a knife. So, that's how that went. I went to trial. I was charged with 2 counts of assault in first degree with a deadly weapon. 2 lesser included assault in a second degrees with a deadly weapon and resisting arrest. That resisting arrest was so stupid. Like, after the incident, the guy knocked me unconscious, and I got up however long later or whatnot, and I fled, and I went to the hospital, and afterwards I left the hospital. I went to the hospital, left the hospital once I got cleared and all that, and they bandaged me up, and then I went to the homeless shelter, and the police came, and they pulled out their guns, and they pretty much shot me with a taser, which constituted resisting arrest. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I got found not guilty out of 4 out of 5 of the charges. Thank goodness. The assault ones with a deadly weapon. The assault ones alone was like 10 years for each one, and with the deadly weapon on top of that, that's like an additional 5 years for a Class A felony. So, if I got found guilty of both of those with a deadly weapon, 10, 20, oh, that's 30 years right there. 30 years in prison. 30 whole years in prison. Whew, man, yeah. Thoughts going through my head. That happened. They found me guilty of the assault in the second degree with a deadly weapon. Personally, I think it was just a sympathy sympathy thing. I remember one of the jurors, even though it's not on the official court record, but I mean, they're not going to put it on there, but one of the jurors ran out of the jury room when they were going through deliberations. She was crying or whatnot, and I knew instantly. I was like, oh, well, obviously she thinks I'm not guilty, and these other people think I'm guilty for whatever charge they're going on about. Because I highly doubt someone would run crying out of the courtroom or the jury room if they thought I was guilty. that doesn't make sense. So, but assumptions. Anyway, afterwards, long fight. Long trial. Ended up going to the prison, Stafford Creek Correctional Facility or Correctional Center, all the way out in Aberdeen, Washington. Very long way. Let me tell you, prison is... I'll save that for another time. But, man, homelessness... After I got out of prison, I ended up homeless because I didn't have anywhere to stay. They put me on the DOC voucher, which is just basically they provide free housing for up to 3 months, and then afterwards they figure that's enough time to become successful, which I will say no, it's not, depending on your circumstance. I don't really have family support. I'm pretty much on my own here, with the exception of my brother and maybe a few relatives. But as far as support, it's more just like emotional support, not like, oh, here's some money, or come stay at my house. Although my brother does say I can stay over there, but he's got a 1-bedroom apartment and 2 kids and a wife. No, that's not me. I'm not gonna invade your already small house. So I was 19 years old. Yeah, 19 years old. Got out of prison. Already with a criminal record. Now I got something else on it. Tried looking for jobs. And I'm going to save that for another video. But, man, looking for jobs with a record is like a broken record. You just get told no a lot, and a lot of the jobs that you are qualified for, you're automatically disqualified for because you have a criminal record. How crazy that is. I really hope that ban the box thing goes through. Honestly, a criminal, I think if you serve your time and you've shown that you've done well on probation for a set amount of time or whatnot, not like 2 years probation. That's ridiculous. 3 months. If you've been working and all that stuff, you shouldn't have to do probation and all that other crap. And then, I don't know. I just wish businesses themselves would be like, hey, listen, this guy, he applied, he has a criminal record, but he meets our qualifications, so why don't we just sit down, talk to him, ask him what he did or what. Well, I mean, that might violate a few things, but if he really wants a job, then maybe we'll sit down and see what his personality is and whatnot. Just because someone committed a crime of assault, whatnot, doesn't mean they're angry or assaultive people or whatnot. I have a very calm and collected personality. I considered that's what I consider myself to have developed over since my youth. Man, but yes, I'm running out of things to talk about. So my like I said, this is my first video, so there's gonna be a lot, but you got a little bit about me, some of my ideas of homelessness. I want to go into detail in another video about being homeless and getting a job, and then also elaborate more on homelessness itself. Like I want to give like tips and tricks know, or maybe not tips and tricks, but like what homeless people actually have to do in order to survive out on the streets, and how homeless people who are homeless can become successful. I want to give those type of ideas, put them in their heads or whatnot, depending on their situation. Every person who's homeless has a different struggle or whatnot. Every person. It doesn't, you can have, people can fall out from the same circumstance, but then someone might have family support, another person may not, like myself or whatnot. I'm literally pretty much on a day-to-day basis out on my own on the streets. So, but I survive because I'm constantly learning. I'm a college student, networking and cybersecurity, Tacoma Community College. 3.6 GPA. I'm doing good out here. I consider myself. Labor works, temp agencies, all kinds of temp agencies. I worked for 24/7 staffing, doing security at the Seahawks games. I mean, that was super fun. I tried to work for Staff Pro, which is another staffing agency that does Seahawks games, but you know that criminal record, stuff like that. But anyway, gotta go. I'm going to come up with some more focus, narrow down the ideas for each video and whatnot. I want to be able to provide people when they're sitting at the library or whatnot, man, how do I get off the streets? You know, how do I not do drugs and all that other stuff? You know, I'm just going to come up with videos for each of those topics or whatnot. So, thank you for watching. I know this was like a super long video. Next one, I promise my goal is to keep it under 5 minutes, and I'll try and elaborate on those times, and I'm going to have different talking points and whatnot. So, thank you very much. Trans 9S out.